Want to know which upgrades actually make sense in your rental properties and which ones are just a waste of money? Today we're going to walk you through some of the highest end materials and lowest end in terms of choices for your rental properties. Now, this is very different than when you're renovating a property from yourself because the care that goes into it is going to be different, obviously. My name is LJ Aguinaga, your local real estate broker here with LJ Realties in Montreal. And right now we're standing in a freshly renovated unit that I'm about to highlight which materials I really like, which ones I like a little bit less, and what decisions were made in terms of layout that I think are excellent or maybe not as good. If you're a property manager or if you're renovating units yourself, this video is for you. So here we find ourselves in the main living space of this unit. And if I'm looking at the flooring, I'm looking at the used high-end floating floors. Now, when we're talking about rental properties, my favorite is luxury vinyl plank. And the reason for that is because it's waterproof, it's durable, it's scratch resistant, and it's really inexpensive and easy to install. So contractors love putting that down as well. After that, we do have this flooring, to be honest, which is a high-end floating floor. It's probably a 12 or 15 millimeter floating floor, which I really like as well because again, it's inexpensive, easy to lay down. And if ever we do have to replace it, the cost isn't very significant. Now, if the property already had hardwood floors, I'd always try to restore those first because you can usually sand them down, revarnish them. They look fantastic. They have a lot of lifespan associated to them, but because of the cost, I'm not going to go take an ugly floor and then replace it with a hardwood floor unless it's very much a high-end luxury unit because the pricing just doesn't make sense on that anymore typically. So those are my options. The next option would be potentially to lay down tiles or ceramics across this entire space, but I find that with our Montreal weather, it just makes the space a bit too cold, to be quite honest. So realistically, luxury vinyl plank, high-end floating floor, those are the top two options that we're seeing. And I remember back in the day, a lot of people had reservations with floating floors because it was seen as a cheap flooring material. Now, a lot of the high-end condo towers in downtown Montreal are going with this type of flooring because of the resistance, because of the ease of accessibility effectively. So really, it's come a long way from where it was, and we have to get over some of those pre-established notions that we had about this material back in the day. So this is where we're talking about flooring, and this is why I absolutely love it. It's a nice uniform color. It looks fantastic. It doesn't show too many blemishes. So honestly, this is a great flooring option for this unit. Now we find ourselves in the kitchen. This is one of the most important parts of any unit, and I absolutely love what they did with this kitchen for a couple of different reasons. First of all, they integrated a microwave with the fan. So they went 2-in-1, which is fantastic because first of all, it saves space. Second of all, it means you're providing a microwave to the tenants, which most tenants absolutely love. And third of all, you make sure that they're actually going to use it because it's right over the stove and everything lines up perfectly. Now, something else I love about this kitchen is the stone countertops they went with. I absolutely love stone countertops, and I'll typically even go a little bit thicker just to make sure that they last a little bit longer. This is the 1/2 inch, they have the 3/4 inch options as well. And what I love about that is the durability and the resistance. I find that whenever we go with a different countertop that isn't a stone, it usually doesn't last as long and we have to end up replacing it a lot faster. Now, there are several different types of materials. You could go with decked in, you could go with porcelain, you can go with lots of different options. But even a simple quartz actually goes a very long way in making sure that tenants absolutely love the space, feel super comfortable, and they feel that they're in a high-end unit. The next thing is we have these cabinets over here. Now over here, they went with a beautiful option. There's tons of space. Everything is super well sorted. Dishwasher is a huge pro to any single unit. The reality is most people are absolutely looking for dishwashers. So obviously having that set up right next to the sink makes a lot of sense. Another thing I like is that they went with black finishes. You see you have the black stove, the black or dark gray dishwasher. Then they went with the black faucet here as well with an oversized sink. The reality is when you're trying to clean up after a turkey dinner or even just a regular cooking, you want space in the sink to be able to clean up after yourself. So the fact that they have this extra wide and deep sink is a huge plus. If you're dealing with any tenants that really like to cook and really like to have this prep space, these are the things you're going to be looking at. So you have to make sure that you're paying a lot of attention to them. If you follow me a little bit further this way, you see that they have a little pantry space over here, which is also super great. Everything in this unit is soft close. So as I do that, you can see the soft close feel. They're little details that aren't super expensive to execute on, but that make the unit feel a lot more luxurious, and it makes tenants believe that you really invested into this unit and you believe in the longevity and the quality of it. So these are some of the things that I absolutely love about this kitchen. If we go back to countertops, to the cabinets for a second, a lot of times people say, well, why don't you go with wood or these other materials? Look, wood's an excellent material. It's super durable, it's beautiful, but the reality is if you're not the one living in it, you don't have to go with the crazy high-end material for it, right? There's a lot of options that are very durable, that are easy to replace if it comes to it, that make a lot of sense for a rental. So because of that, I like what they did with this. All right, let's head on over to the bathrooms now. Okay, in a bathroom, I see this time and time again. A lot of people think that it's really cool to keep the same flooring that we have on the exterior in the bathroom, and that's a huge no-no. I love that they went with tiles, ceramics on this. It's a bathroom, it's naturally moist and wet. You wanna have a durable material that is resistant to water. They actually went with 2 feet by 2 feet, or the classic 24 by 24 inch ceramic tiles, which is modern. It gives it a nice touch. It flows. We have a gray color here, which plays well with the flooring that we had in the common areas. And they also went with tiles over here in the shower. They kept the other 3 walls, or 4 walls even, in gyprock, which is totally fine for a rental. You don't need to have ceramic tiles floor to ceiling on the entire bathroom, but having it obviously in the shower area is super important. I like that went with a very similar style countertop over here to what we saw in the kitchen. So we have a lot of continuity and flow. We still have the black faucets over here. So again, going with that continuity, black handles throughout the doors. Same thing for the towel holder. The mirror has the exact same accents. And as we come over here, you actually have a beautiful door, which opens like this. And it also slides as well. This is actually the first time I see this model. I think it's super practical because it'll make getting in and out of the bath very, very easy. Super nice touch. And again, the toilet is tucked away over here. You can't see it, but the paper holder is the same black finishings as everything else in here. So again, the continuity, the luxurious feel and finishes, we see it throughout. They did an excellent job with this bathroom. We even have a window in here. Plus, something that's super important is the fact that we have our fan, right? Every single bathroom needs to have a fan that goes to the exterior. It's been building code for a very, very long time, and you wanna make sure that you're pulling out all the humidity from this bathroom so that we don't have mold problems, so we don't have any issues of that nature. So honestly, everything they did in this bathroom is a huge success. I'm very impressed with it, and I think that any tenant that were to come to see it is actually gonna really like these finishings as well. Now we find ourselves in the second bathroom in this unit. Now, what I really like about this space is the fact that, as you remember, we had a bathtub in the bathroom across the hall. So because of that, they were actually able to save space over here and just go with a stand-up shower. Because we already have one bathtub, we're not cannibalizing any of our target market by having a smaller stand-up shower in this space. It's a much tighter bathroom, but the reality is they were able to maximize the space here and actually get another bedroom by doing this. So because of that, I really appreciate and enjoy the finishings that they put here, as well as the space saving that they've gone with it. So again, similar finishes throughout, the black faucet, mirror, toilet paper holder, and they've maximized everything they need into the space. Same tiles were used. So again, you don't have to get super creative and super fancy changing tiles for every single bathroom. As long as everything looks smooth, sleek, and has continuity, people are gonna love what they see when they come in. I want to now take a minute to talk about the layout of the unit. Now, this doesn't come down to the materials or the finishings, but this is part of the pre-work. Before you start your renovation, you should get plans drawn up for the space if you're planning on changing the configuration. More times than not, it makes sense to make some adjustments to the configuration, obviously taking into account structural walls and making sure that you're opening what you can and not opening walls that you should not be opening, but really maximizing the space of the bedrooms and getting as many bedrooms as possible if you are located relatively close to the downtown core. Whenever you are in that area, a lot of the times our target market are going to be students or young professionals. And a lot of the times they're okay with paying a little bit more for a nice space, but they need more bedrooms in order to share that rent across more people. So what they did here is you have 4 bedrooms in this space, 2 bathrooms, a nice little living area located right behind you, and then a small dining room area, because the reality is your typical young professional and student is not hosting these big dinner parties, so they maximize the bedroom space as opposed to the dining area, and you still have a very comfortable living space, because all they really care about is a bit of space to watch TV, to hang out with some friends, to maybe host a few people from time to time. They're not looking for the classic layout of the unit, and by taking this into account, you can really maximize the spaces. It should also be noted that with the work from home trend that we've been seeing, even if you can't get a full bedroom out of the space, making a closed office space is really intelligent right now, because a lot of people are still working 2, 3, maybe even 5 days a week from home. So that person is going to be looking for that kind of a space, as well as an office space would usually double as a nursery if you are located in an area that would be great for young families. Now we're coming close to the end of this video, and I want to talk about the 2 final upgrades that are super important that a lot of people don't spend a lot of time on or don't think about. The first one is an air conditioning unit. The reality is, if you add a heat pump or an air conditioning unit, if you are going to refinance the property soon, there are energy efficiency reports that you can get on the property that will allow you to get much better refinance terms if you're using something like the MLI Select CMHC refinance program. So because of that, it is super important to have them in your plans and include them in your property. The reality is, in Montreal, we do have at least 1 to 2 weeks a year where we're sitting in that 35 to 40 degrees of weather for the entire week and people are really, really hot, and somebody who just had a bad experience in their previous property, the first question they're gonna ask you is there AC in the unit? Is there a heat pump? Is it gonna be energy efficient? So if you can include that into your plans, that's a huge win for everybody. Now, the last part I want to talk about is doors and windows. Over here, you can notice they changed every single window and door in the property. What I love about these guillotine style windows, because they open and close up and down, is that they're super durable and super difficult to break. The reality is, although a casement window, which is the one with the crank, seems to be more popular, a little bit more high end, the mechanisms tend to break on you. So especially if you're not going to be the one living in the property, I highly recommend you get a guillotine style window that opens up and down. They're easy to clean, they're easy to maintain. The rails are on the side so they don't get stuck with dirt and grime as much as any other type of window like the sliders and stuff of that nature. So I absolutely love what they did here. They also changed the back door, the back patio door, and the front doors of the building. So when you approach the property, everything looks clean and sleek. But above and beyond all that, the energy efficiency that you gain by having new windows and new doors is another huge plus, and it's gonna make tenants a lot more inclined to rent your property because they can see again the care and attention to detail that you put into the property when you were renovating it. So this is my last tip for you. I hope you enjoyed everything that we just discussed. I hope that you can implement some of these tips into your next renovation. Is there anything else that you would do in a renovation that I missed in this video? Let me know in the comments down below. I can't wait to hear it from you. And again, I'll see you in the next video.